Recorded television gives producers the luxury of editing mistakes, reshooting bad takes, and polishing content until it's perfect. Everything is controlled, predictable, and safe from embarrassment. Live television has none of those protections, which is exactly why the most memorable moments in TV history happened when nobody could stop them. 1. A news anchor famously couldn't stop laughing during a story about a cat stuck in a ceiling, completely losing professional composure on live television. The story was meant to be lighthearted, but something about the footage triggered uncontrollable giggles. The anchor tried multiple times to compose themselves, but each attempt resulted in more laughter. Their co-anchor started laughing too, creating a chain reaction of on-air giggling. Producers couldn't cut away because the show was live, so viewers watched several minutes of journalists unable to maintain composure. The clip went viral and became one of the most watched news bloopers, proving that sometimes the most memorable journalism happens when journalists lose control entirely. 2. During a live weather report, a meteorologist's green screen malfunctioned, making it appear that weather maps were displayed on their clothing, turning them into a floating head surrounded by storm systems. The meteorologist didn't immediately realize what viewers were seeing. As the camera operator tried to signal the problem, the meteorologist kept presenting while apparently wearing weather patterns as clothing. The technical crew scrambled to fix the issue while the broadcast continued, with a disembodied head discussing cold fronts. Viewers flooded social media with screenshots, making the glitch more memorable than any weather information. The station explained that the meteorologist had accidentally worn green clothing, creating the surreal broadcast moment. 3. A reporter doing a live courthouse shot was interrupted when someone walked between them and the camera, making obscene gestures, photobombing the serious news report. The reporter tried to maintain professionalism while the person behind them waved, danced, and made faces at the camera. Security eventually escorted the photobomber away, but not before several seconds of broadcast showed their antics. The incident highlighted a major challenge of outdoor live shots. Anyone can walk into frame and there's no way to stop them. The photobomb became more famous than whatever story the reporter was covering. 4. During a live cooking segment, a chef accidentally set their dish on fire, creating flames that quickly got out of control while the host panicked on camera. The chef had been demonstrating flambe technique when they added too much alcohol, creating a fireball. The flames spread to nearby materials as the chef grabbed towels to extinguish the fire. The live broadcast showed genuine panic as crew rushed in with fire extinguishers while the host backed away. Viewers watched real-time chaos as the cooking segment turned into a fire emergency. The segment was cut to commercial once the fire was controlled, but thousands had witnessed the disaster. 5. A news anchor discovered during live broadcast that they'd been reading from the wrong script, reporting on stories that weren't scheduled for that newscast. The anchor had been several minutes into reading when they realized none of the stories matched the teleprompter. Confusion spread across their face as they tried to figure out what was happening while still on camera. The control room scrambled while the anchor attempted to transition to correct stories. Viewers watched the visible confusion and recovery attempts. The incident revealed how much anchors rely on scripts and what happens when those systems fail during live broadcasts. 6. During a live sports broadcast, a streaker ran across the field during a crucial game moment, forcing cameras to quickly pan away while commentators awkwardly avoided mentioning what was happening. Broadcast directors had been instructed never to show streakers, but the incident happened during such an important moment that avoiding it was impossible. Commentators had to pretend nothing unusual was happening, while security chased the naked person in the background. Audio picked up crowd reactions and laughter while broadcasters maintained straight faces. Social media immediately filled with fan footage that the broadcast had avoided. 7. A morning show host accidentally drank their guest's beverage instead of their own, then spit it out on live television upon discovering it was alcohol at 8 a.m. The host had been interviewing someone about cocktail recipes when they absent-mindedly grabbed what they thought was coffee and took a large sip. The immediate reaction of surprise and disgust played out live as the host realized they'd consumed a morning cocktail. Rather than swallow it, the host spit the drink back into the cup on camera. The guest and co-hosts reacted with amusement as the host apologized. The incident became a viral clip about checking your drink before sipping on live TV. 8. During a political debate broadcast live, A candidate's microphone malfunctioned, broadcasting their private comments to their advisor that they thought were off-air. The candidate had been whispering during commercial break, not realizing their microphone was still active. Viewers heard the candidate making unflattering comments about their opponent and discussing strategy they didn't intend to share. The realization dawned on the candidate's face as they saw reactions from others on stage. The incident created immediate controversy as private comments revealed actual opinions versus public positions. The candidate's campaign never fully recovered from the accidental honesty captured by live broadcast technology. 9. A news reporter covering a hurricane from outdoors was caught on camera, being blown over by wind while trying to demonstrate the storm's power. The reporter had been leaning into wind to show its strength when a powerful gust knocked them off their feet. The camera captured the reporter tumbling across the frame before crew members helped them up. The dramatic fall happened while other people in the background walked by with minimal difficulty, raising questions about exaggeration. The clip was replayed endlessly, becoming an iconic example of potentially overdramatic weather reporting and sparking discussions about reporter safety. 10. During a live award show, a presenter accidentally announced the wrong winner, creating chaos when incorrect recipients gave acceptance speeches before the mistake was discovered. The presenter had been given the wrong envelope, leading them to announce winners from a different category. The incorrect winners came on stage and gave heartfelt speeches before producers realized the error. Live television captured the awkward moment when real winners were announced and brought on stage while wrong winners were escorted off. The award show became famous for one of the most spectacular live TV mistakes in award show history. 11. A morning show segment featuring animals went chaotic when a monkey escaped from its handler and began destroying the studio set while cameras rolled. The monkey had been brought on for a zoo promotion, but broke free and started jumping on furniture, knocking over mugs, and grabbing anything within reach. The hosts scrambled out of the way while the handler tried to recapture the monkey as it explored the studio with enthusiasm. The segment that was supposed to last 3 minutes became 10 minutes of monkey wrangling entertainment. The monkey eventually tired and was captured, but not before creating one of the most memorable morning show disasters. 12. During a live interview, a guest's video call background revealed something inappropriate that viewers immediately noticed, forcing producers to quickly cut the feed. The guest had been interviewed from home and apparently forgotten what was visible behind them. Social media exploded with screenshots as viewers spotted problematic details faster than the broadcast team. The interview was abruptly ended and the show cut to commercial. The guest later apologized and claimed they hadn't realized what was visible. The incident became a cautionary tale about checking backgrounds before video interviews, especially during live broadcasts. 13. A sports commentator accidentally used profanity on live television, forgetting they were broadcasting and responding to a controversial referee call with language not suitable for broadcast. The commentator's hot mic caught their genuine reaction, including several words that required immediate apologies. The control room couldn't cut the audio fast enough to prevent profanity from reaching millions of viewers. The commentator was suspended and later returned with apologies. The clip was widely shared with bleeps added, though everyone knew what had been said. The incident highlighted how live sports occasionally captures genuine reactions that wouldn't survive normal editing. 14. During a live newscast, the anchor's toddler wandered into frame and climbed onto their lap, creating an adorable interruption the anchor tried to handle professionally. The anchor had been broadcasting from home when their child escaped from whoever was watching them. The anchor tried to continue reading news while managing a toddler who wanted attention. The co-anchor in the studio tried to help by taking over the story, but the situation was too chaotic. Viewers watched the anchor attempt professional composure while doing parent duties. The clip went viral as a wholesome example of work-from-home challenges. 15. A news helicopter covering traffic accidentally filmed something they shouldn't have, forcing the live feed to be cut when producers realized what was being broadcast. The helicopter had been providing aerial views of a traffic jam when the camera panned across a scene unsuitable for television. The producer screamed to cut the feed, but not before several seconds of inappropriate content was broadcast. The station immediately switched to the studio and issued apologies. The incident led to new protocols about helicopter coverage and implementing delays even for traffic reports. 16. During a live cooking show, a celebrity guest revealed they couldn't actually cook, admitting on air that chefs usually prepared their cookbook recipes for them. The host had asked the celebrity to demonstrate a recipe from their best-selling cookbook. The celebrity struggled with basic techniques and eventually confessed they weren't sure how to do what the recipe required. The host tried to help while processing the revelation. Viewers watched the awkward admission that the person selling cooking expertise perhaps didn't have cooking skills. The confession sparked controversy about celebrity cookbooks and whether celebrities actually develop their own recipes. 17. A morning show weather person fainted on live television during their forecast, collapsing while pointing at the weather map without warning. The camera captured them swaying and dropping out of frame as concerned colleagues rushed to help. The broadcast went to commercial immediately while they received medical attention. Viewers were left with the sudden and disturbing image of someone collapsing during what seemed like a routine segment. The weather person later explained they'd been feeling ill but thought they could make it through. The incident highlighted pressures of live broadcasting, where hosts often push through sickness. 18. During a serious news report about a robbery, a reporter accidentally called the suspect by the wrong name, their own name, creating confusion and an awkward live correction. The reporter had been reading from notes and somehow mixed up the suspect's name with their own. The slip-up took a second to register before the reporter realized the error and tried to correct it on camera. The mistake was compounded when the correction included stumbling over both names multiple times. Viewers found the error hilarious, flooding social media with jokes about the reporter being wanted for robbery. 19. A live awards show performance was interrupted when equipment malfunctioned, dropping part of the set onto the stage while performers were mid-song. Performers had to dodge falling equipment while trying to continue the performance. Audio cut out momentarily as the sound system was affected. Camera operators tried to find angles that didn't show the disaster while capturing the performance. The performers admirably continued despite chaos, finishing while crew cleared debris. The broadcast cut to commercial as soon as possible, but the equipment failure was witnessed by millions. The performers were praised for their professionalism under literally falling circumstances. 20. During a political interview, a politician's phone rang loudly mid-answer, and instead of ignoring it, they actually answered the call on live television. The interviewer sat stunned as the politician took a phone call in the middle of being interviewed, having a brief conversation before hanging up. The politician then tried to return to answering the question as if nothing unusual had happened. Viewers couldn't believe what they'd witnessed. The clip went viral as an example of either incredible disrespect or complete obliviousness to broadcast etiquette. The interview became famous not for policy discussion, but for the shocking phone call interruption. 21. A news anchor discovered their teeth were stained blue from eating something before the broadcast, but didn't realize until midway through when a producer told them through their earpiece. The anchor's expression changed from confused to horrified as they apparently received the news about their bright blue teeth. Viewers at home had been watching the entire broadcast, wondering if anyone would tell the anchor about their discolored smile. The anchor tried to smile less obviously while finishing the newscast, creating awkward facial expressions as they became self-conscious. The incident was later explained as a reaction to something the anchor had eaten that temporarily stained their teeth bright blue. The broadcast became memorable for viewers waiting to see if anyone would mention the obvious teeth situation. The anchor later joked about the incident and the mortification of receiving that information through an earpiece during live TV. 22. During a live parade broadcast, the camera accidentally focused on a float that was experiencing technical problems, showing the ugly machinery and crew underneath what was supposed to be a magical display. The float had broken down and crew members were frantically trying to repair it while the float blocked the parade route. The live broadcast should have cut away, but instead showed several minutes of exposed mechanical workings and stressed crew members. Viewers watched the behind-the-scenes reality of parade float maintenance rather than the polished entertainment they expected. Children in the audience could be heard asking why the float was broken and what all those people were doing underneath. The broadcast tried to fill time by having commentators discuss other aspects of the parade, while the broken float dominated the screen. The incident revealed the mechanical reality behind parade magic, showing viewers more than the producers intended. 23. A sports broadcaster announced they needed to use the bathroom during a live broadcast, apparently thinking their microphone was off, creating an awkward moment. The commentator's audio was clearly heard saying they couldn't wait and needed to leave immediately, information viewers didn't need. The broadcast partner tried to cover for the sudden departure, while the urgent commentator left their position mid-game. Viewers heard shuffling and movement as someone scrambled to leave their booth during live coverage of a sporting event. The commentator returned several minutes later, clearly embarrassed that their bathroom emergency had been broadcast to everyone watching. The incident became a reminder that microphones in broadcasting booths are almost always live, even when you think they're not. Sports blooper shows replayed the bathroom announcement, making it an enduring example of what not to say during live broadcasts. 24. During a live news broadcast from a beach, a large wave unexpectedly crashed over the reporter, completely soaking them and knocking them down on camera. The reporter had been standing at what they thought was a safe distance from the water while discussing beach conditions. The rogue wave came from behind and caught everyone off guard, drenching the reporter and knocking over equipment. The camera captured the moment of the wave hitting, then showed the soaked reporter trying to recover composure and continue the report. The reporter admirably tried to finish the segment, despite being completely wet and clearly shaken from the impact. The incident became a classic example of beach reporting gone wrong and the unpredictability of live outdoor broadcasting. The clip was replayed widely as both a blooper and a reminder about respecting ocean conditions during location reporting. 25. A morning show host accidentally said a product name wrong in a way that sounded like profanity, creating a moment where everyone on set froze trying to figure out if it had been inappropriate. The mispronunciation wasn't technically a curse word, but sounded enough like one that it created awkward silence. The host's face showed dawning realization about how their mispronunciation had sounded, while co-hosts tried not to laugh. The product sponsor later clarified the correct pronunciation, but the damage was done and the clip spread widely. Viewers debated whether the host should have acknowledged the slip or ignored it, with the decision to freeze creating more awkwardness. The moment became a teaching example in broadcasting about how to handle ambiguous verbal mistakes during the live television. The host later joked that they would never mispronounce that particular word again, regardless of what product they were discussing. 26. During a live interview, a celebrity's publicist physically removed them from the set mid-interview when questions went in an uncomfortable direction. The celebrity had been answering questions about their new project when the interviewer asked about personal controversies. The publicist suddenly appeared on camera, told the celebrity they were done, and literally pulled them out of their chair. Viewers watched the celebrity being escorted away while the interviewer sat confused about what had just happened. The interview was supposed to continue for several more minutes, but ended abruptly with an empty chair where the celebrity had been. The incident went viral as a spectacular example of an interview going wrong and publicist intervention taken to extreme levels. The show tried to salvage the segment by discussing what had just occurred, turning the walkout into the main story instead of whatever the interview was supposed to promote. 27. A news anchor sneezed violently during a live report, sending their papers flying and creating a moment of chaos at the anchor desk. The sneeze was unexpected and powerful enough to scatter the carefully organized script pages across the desk and floor. The anchor tried to maintain composure while papers drifted everywhere, and their co-anchor tried not to laugh at the situation. Camera operators adjusted to avoid showing the mess while the anchor attempted to gather papers and continue reading news. The natural human moment broke through the polished facade of professional news broadcasting, making the anchor relatable. The clip became a favorite blooper, showing that even the most serious news anchors are subject to basic biological functions. The anchor later joked that at least viewers knew the broadcast was live and unedited, because no produced show would include that moment. 28. During a live cooking demonstration on a talk show, the host took a bite of food that was still extremely hot, burning their mouth on camera and unable to hide their pain. The host had been enthusiastically trying the chef's dish without testing the temperature first, immediately regretting the decision. Viewers watched the host's face go through stages of realization about the mistake while trying not to spit out food on live television. The host struggled between maintaining politeness and dealing with a genuinely burned mouth, creating awkward moments while the chef looked concerned. Eventually, the host had to spit the food into a napkin rather than swallow burning hot food, abandoning any pretense of polished hosting. The incident became a reminder about testing temperature before enthusiastically eating food on camera. The host's genuine reaction and inability to hide pain made it a memorable moment of real human experience breaking through talk show polish. 29. A weather forecaster accidentally revealed they were wearing shorts below the weather desk when the camera angle changed during a live broadcast. The forecaster had dressed professionally from the waist up for the on-camera portion, but wore shorts since only their top half was visible. A technical error changed the camera angle lower than normal, revealing the casual bottom half of the outfit. The forecaster didn't realize the wardrobe reveal until they saw viewer reactions on social media after the broadcast. The incident became a humorous reminder that television often shows only what producers want viewers to see. Viewers enjoyed the behind-the-scenes glimpse at the reality of weather forecasting where comfort below the desk was prioritized over full professional dress. The forecaster later joked about the reveal and the reality of broadcast television, where partial wardrobe is often sufficient. 30. During a live sports interview, an athlete began crying unexpectedly, creating an emotionally raw moment that interviewers hadn't anticipated. The athlete had been asked about their performance when they became overwhelmed with emotion about personal struggles. The interviewer wasn't prepared for the emotional breakdown and didn't know whether to continue or end the interview. Cameras captured the genuine moment of human vulnerability that couldn't be edited or managed. The athlete later thanked the interviewer for allowing the moment to happen rather than cutting away immediately. Viewers had mixed reactions, with some appreciating the authenticity while others felt it was too private for broadcast. The moment became a case study in sports broadcasting about handling unexpected emotional situations during live interviews. 31. A morning show host accidentally insulted their co-host's outfit on live television, not realizing the microphone had picked up their whispered comment. The comment had been meant as a private aside, but was broadcast to everyone watching the morning show. The insulted co-host's face showed they'd heard the comment, creating immediate on-air tension. The show continued with awkward energy as both hosts tried to pretend nothing had happened while clearly upset. Viewers watched the relationship dynamics play out in real time as the hosts finished the broadcast with strained interactions. The incident led to on-air apologies the following day and discussions about what had happened behind the scenes. The moment became a reminder that in television studios, nothing is truly private and microphones capture everything. 32. During a live news broadcast, the anchor's script contained a typo that made them accidentally say something inappropriate, causing them to stop mid-sentence in shock. The anchor had been reading confidently when they realized what word the typo had created just as it left their mouth. The realization hit their face while they were still on camera, creating a moment of visible horror. The anchor tried to correct and clarify what they'd meant to say, while clearly mortified about the verbal mistake. Viewers rewound their recordings trying to catch exactly what had been said before the correction. The incident highlighted how dangerous typos can be when scripts are read live without opportunity for preview. The anchor handled the recovery professionally, but the moment of shock was visible and became a blooper reel favorite. 33. A live talk show interview was interrupted when a guest fainted, forcing the show to go to commercial while medical personnel attended to the collapsed guest. The guest had been in the middle of an answer when they suddenly slumped in their chair without warning. The host immediately called for help while cameras continued rolling, capturing genuine panic on set. The broadcast cut to commercial moments after the collapse, but not before viewers saw the emergency unfold. The guest recovered and later explained they had been feeling ill but didn't want to cancel their appearance. The incident raised questions about whether guests should push through illness for broadcast appearances. The show implemented new check-in procedures to ensure guests were physically well enough to appear. 34. During a live awards show, a presenter tripped walking upstairs to the stage, creating a spectacular fall captured by multiple camera angles. The presenter tried to recover grace while getting up from the fall, but the stumble was too dramatic to hide. The audience gasped collectively as the fall happened, then offered supportive applause as the presenter stood. Rather than ignore the fall, the presenter acknowledged it with humor once they reached the microphone. The moment became one of the most replayed incidents from that year's ceremony, overshadowing whatever award was being presented. The presenter later joked that at least they'd made the show memorable, even if not in the way they'd intended. The fall became a reminder that live television captures every stumble without opportunity for retakes. 35. A news reporter covering a story outside a courthouse confused the defendant with a different person, reporting incorrect information before being corrected by their producer through their earpiece. The reporter had mixed up two similar cases and was confidently reporting details about the wrong situation. The correction came mid-sentence, causing the reporter to stop and correct their entire report while live on air. Viewers watched the reporter's confidence evaporate as they realized they'd been giving wrong information for over a minute. The scramble to correct the mistake while remaining professional created awkward television as the reporter tried to salvage credibility. The incident highlighted the dangers of live reporting without adequate preparation or fact-checking. The reporter later apologized for the confusion, and the station issued corrections about the misreported information. 36. During a live debate, a participant's video call froze with them, making an unfortunate facial expression, leaving that image on screen while others continued talking. The frozen face showed them mid-blink or mid-word, creating an unflattering image that remained visible for minutes. Other participants tried to alert them about the frozen video, but the connection had completely failed. The broadcast couldn't easily remove the frozen face without disrupting the entire video layout. Viewers watching the debate found the frozen expression distracting from the actual discussion happening. Technical crews eventually managed to remove the frozen video feed, but not before it had been visible for several minutes. The incident became a meme as the unfortunate frozen expression was screenshot and shared widely on social media. 37. A morning show host accidentally started reading the evening news script instead of the morning script, confusing good morning with good evening and referencing stories from a future broadcast. The confusion lasted several sentences before the host realized something was wrong with what they were reading. The teleprompter operator scrambled to load the correct script while the host tried to improvise. Viewers at home wondered if they'd somehow missed an entire day when the host referenced evening where it was clearly morning. The technical error exposed how dependent news broadcasts are on behind-the-scenes production working correctly. The host eventually got the correct script and joked about time travel, but the confusion was already part of the live broadcast. The moment showed that even experienced anchors can be thrown off by script errors during the live television. 38. During a live sports event, commentators didn't realize their microphones were broadcasting during a commercial break and had a personal conversation about topics unrelated to sports. The conversation included complaints about working conditions and gossip about colleagues, all broadcast to viewers. The commentators had no idea their private discussion was being heard until they returned from commercial and were informed. The league and broadcast network received complaints about the unprofessional content that had been accidentally broadcast. Both commentators apologized and were disciplined for the incident, though they genuinely believed they were off air. The situation became a cautionary tale about hot microphones and assuming nothing is private in broadcast environments. The network implemented better communication about when microphones were live to prevent future incidents. 39. A live awards ceremony featured a musical performance where the backing track failed, exposing that the performer was lip-syncing rather than singing live. The performer tried to continue mouthing the words even after the music cut out, making the lip-syncing obvious to everyone watching. The audio came back moments later, but the secret was already out that the live performance wasn't actually live. Social media immediately erupted with discussions about the failed lip sync and whether performers should be required to sing live. The performer later addressed the situation, but the damage to credibility was done. The incident became a famous example of lip syncing gone wrong during a broadcast that was supposed to feature live performances. Award shows subsequently became more explicit about which performances were truly live versus pre-recorded or assisted. 40. During a live interview, a background picture fell off the wall, creating a loud crash that startled everyone and shifted focus from the interview to the falling decor. The interviewer and guest both jumped at the noise, turning to look at what had fallen while still on camera. The interview momentum was completely lost as everyone processed what had happened and whether filming should continue. The choice was made to acknowledge the incident with humor rather than ignore it, turning the disruption into a lighthearted moment. The interview continued, but the focus had shifted from serious discussion to joking about unstable wall hangings. The falling picture became more memorable than whatever had been discussed before it fell. The clip was shared widely as an example of unexpected interruptions during live broadcasts that couldn't be edited out. 41. A weather presenter accidentally walked in front of their own green screen weather map, obscuring the forecast they were trying to deliver. The presenter couldn't see that they were blocking their own map because from their perspective, everything looked normal. The director tried to guide them back to the correct position through their earpiece, while viewers at home watched the weather person stand directly in front of the information they were presenting. The presenter eventually realized the problem and moved, joking about the challenges of presenting weather with green screen technology. The incident highlighted how difficult green screen presenting can be when you can't actually see what viewers are seeing. The moment became a funny blooper rather than a serious error, with the presenter's recovery helping maintain the lighthearted nature of weather segments. 42. During a cooking show, a chef accidentally dropped an entire dish on the floor just seconds before they were supposed to present the finished product on live television. The camera captured the plate crashing to the ground and the chef's devastated reaction to hours of preparation being destroyed. The host tried to salvage the segment by focusing on the preparation process rather than the finished dish. Behind the scenes, crew members scrambled to see if there was any way to present something that looked finished. The chef handled the disaster with grace, joking about the reality of cooking where not everything goes perfectly. The incident became a viral moment showing the human side of cooking shows, where mistakes happen even to professionals. The show embraced the blooper, later using it in promotional materials as an example of keeping going despite disasters. 43. A live political speech was interrupted when the speaker's pants visibly split, creating an awkward situation where the speaker had to continue while clearly uncomfortable. The speaker tried to position themselves behind the podium to hide the wardrobe malfunction while finishing their speech. Alert viewers noticed the speaker's changed positioning and awkward movements, with social media quickly identifying what had happened. The speaker finished the speech and immediately left the stage rather than taking questions as planned. Later statements addressed the wardrobe malfunction with humor, acknowledging the awkward situation. The incident became a sympathetic blooper that humanized the politician, showing that anyone can experience embarrassing wardrobe failures. Future speeches from that speaker included jokes about having more durable pants. 44. During a morning news broadcast, a reporter in the field realized mid-report that they were at the wrong location for their story, creating confusion about what they were reporting on. The reporter had driven to an incorrect address and set up their live shot without realizing the mistake until they were on air. The attempt to correct while broadcasting created muddled reporting as the journalist tried to explain the error and figure out where they actually needed to be. The studio anchors tried to help by clarifying details while the field reporter looked increasingly flustered. The segment that was supposed to provide on-location reporting instead became about a reporter being lost. The error was later attributed to a miscommunication about addresses, but the on-air confusion was already broadcast. The reporter handled the mistake professionally, but the moment became an example of the importance of confirming locations before going live. 45. And finally, during a live interview on a morning show, a dog wandered onto the set and decided to relieve itself on camera, creating a moment of chaos as hosts tried to deal with the situation while maintaining broadcast. The dog had apparently escaped from a segment earlier in the show and returned at the worst possible time. Hosts scrambled to remove the dog while trying not to draw attention to what it was doing, an impossible task since it was happening on camera. The guest being interviewed tried to continue answering questions while hosts were obviously distracted by off-screen chaos. Production assistants rushed in to clean up while the broadcast cut to commercial faster than planned. The incident became legendary as one of the most unexpected live TV moments involving animals and the challenges of having animals in studios. The show later joked about the incident, but implemented stricter protocols about keeping animals secured between segments to prevent future bathroom emergencies during the live broadcasts. Live television creates these unforgettable moments because there's no safety net. When something goes wrong, everyone sees it, and that vulnerability makes for the most memorable television. The beauty of these disasters is their authenticity. You can't fake the panic of a news anchor reading the wrong script or the chaos of equipment falling during a performance. These moments remind us that behind the polished facade, television is made by humans who make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes are spectacular. Subscribe for more proof that the best TV moments are the ones nobody planned. And remember that somewhere right now, a producer is watching their live broadcast hoping nothing goes catastrophically wrong.